back to the channel and just squeezing in one more of our World Cup design playthroughs. And this is Mmallahan with his Duna da Costa Sul, which is based somewhere in Portugal. I remember seeing it's kind of David McKee sort of inspired. And we are going to go black tees, I guess, and pin 3. I haven't checked the thread. I probably should do just to make sure that there's not a specific tee I should be playing with. Fine. Pin set 2 and 4 are more difficult ones. 3 is the easiest. Okay. I would generally advise spreading difficulty amongst the 3, but 4, but that's fine. Let's give this a go then. So Mitch's been involved in a few contests recently and is getting better and better with every course. So interested to see what he's gone with here. Now Dave McKee, I have to say, is not my favourite designer, partly it just gets a little bit penal at times, I think. But Band Jeans obviously amazing, and this one I think is based on Comporta in Portugal, which I've seen bits of. Okay, we've done some interesting stuff for terrain painting. So we're in Highlands, but kind of giving the appearance of more of a delta sort of style course. Now, one thing I would say you can see from the top is the waist bunkers look quite regular, probably because they maybe were splined. If they're brushes, like I think you can probably make them a little bit more ragged than they are, and how just the blending into them. I know that's difficult, and you've done some interesting stuff with the sand choices here, which I think works really nicely. Like planting has clearly taken a ton of time. It looks good, and we've gone very heavily weathered. Yeah, I just feel this could look a little neat. Oh, okay. We've also done the split fairway thing. I really don't think that was needed. If I'm totally honest, like you only do it on very specific courses where they would do that, and I'm just not sure you would on this. Hey, Mitch. I'm just currently questioning your split fairway decision. I'm not convinced. Oh, like the clubhouse. That is nice and modern. One car. Good decisions. Plant meter was used where it needed to be used. Cool, and lots of little pines. And then, yeah, we're going to get out to the coast. Looks like we've got some nice holes out here. I'm not going to spoil things too much for myself, but I do want to see the coastal terrain area and what we've done. Nice. There's a lot of detailed planting, and yeah, changing the bedrock texture. This all looks very nice. This is very well done. Good. Yeah, I know. I understand that. I think even I'm not saying you weren't. Just I don't think I'd have done it on that course either. It tends to be something that I think you do for visual effect where you don't have that much else going on. Right. Anyway, we're going to leap back. Okay. Yeah, so I can, again, we're kind of in the David McKee, like, this is where I'd question a little bit of the inspiration. So, like, he probably does do stuff like this because he gets quite penal with some of his designs. Basically, you're either way out here or that's quite a narrow landing zone. But if you have a longer driver, you're just smashing it way down. And I like the diagonal hazard. I think I would just angle it more so everyone gets a chance to take on what they can. Like, it's a subtle thing, but you want to go 45 or so wherever you possibly can do, just because otherwise it feels like it takes it out of quite a lot of people's hands, especially when we're pushing ourselves way over here and then we're taking on all that trouble. Like, no one really wants to lay here. And then there's also a high part of the fairway. I think we could use more to incentivize a layup. I do really like this planting and the way you've blended the two sand textures though. And I think this choice of sand is great. It looks nice. We're just going to try and bunt something down there. I like the way the native area blends itself into the bunkering. And this one sits nicely. I think the green complex is, the green itself is okay. I wouldn't say it's necessarily grabbing me. I don't think, angles wise, I guess we're probably saying maybe play out that way for this pin, and I don't think you never get at these ones. It does. But I would say solid. Be short enough. Trying to come back. It's so nice to have low lighting back as an option. This is also going to seem like a very random critique. The trees seem a little small. I wonder whether that was lighting or if it might be scaling and I'm just not imagining it. But if you look at the width of the fairways and the trees, it doesn't quite work for me. As well as it maybe, I don't know. Not work, that's harsh. That's not really what I mean. I mean, just a little off. Right. Down 70 feet. I think. And this bunker I would just bring out a little bit more because it's going to be quite hard to access this part of fairway. I'm just going to play short. Yeah, got a wedge in. I like this. Sculpting works nicely. This one looks really good. That's not a good swing. Yeah, deserved that. Still, we have some room to play with. Just don't go long. Might go long. I know I say this a bunch. I would generally try to avoid red slopes going off greens into rough. It just means you can't putt back. Like into fairway, I have no issue with. Into light rough, I think generally you don't see it happen all that often. That said, that one worked out. A little replay going. What have we got next? Oh yeah, this was nicely teased on the previous hole. Yeah. Oh, okay, it's 250. Interesting. Take it all in. I like the path work up this side. Maybe feels maybe a touch narrow as a it's a minor thing. But that's what we're here for. I like that we can feed it towards this pin. Again, I don't know if I like on 250, if you get the yardage ever so slightly wrong, I'm not sure I'd roll people off the back, like from the green. I don't really mind it dropping down beyond the green, but there's a difference, I think, with whether the red slope is on the green or off it in terms of how people feel. Like if imagine how you were playing this and you play a 3-wood and it rolls all the way up, like you'd be a bit annoyed if it just rolled off and you've hit a run off at the back. Otherwise, I think this one looks gorgeous. It's really pretty. Downhill a little bit. We can pretty much go at it. That needs to go right. Oh, and it has. Yeah, you see? Like, I know you're trying to encourage people to run it through, but I think you can do both. Like, you can let people go at it and then also provide an option to run the ball on. Exactly. There we go. Nice first 3 holes. So now we're playing a long coastline. That's a very good camera. That's really creative, doesn't it? Like, you can tell there's a ton of time put in. Yeah, I just maintain I do not think the two-tone fairway is needed. It's not one of those where it detracts from it. I just don't think it needs it. Okay. All right. That'll do. It's okay. Yeah, love all of this. Like, it looks great, and I love how much space. It would have been so easy to put the coast right here and put the water there. Actually, this looks a bunch better for you not having done that. The little rocky outcroppings in the back, all of that detail looks really good. Coming back to the hole itself, it would be good to see just a little bit more of that. So, like, sculpting, just try and think about how that might impact the view that you get. If we switch between those two cameras, you'll see the bits that we can't quite see just in this area. As for near the green, I think you've given us a really interesting shot of bouncing the ball in. I would have taken away this bunker, or at least allowed more space around it this side. I don't have a problem with the bunker guarding that entry point at all. It's just the fairway around here feels like if you hit it, it's luck rather than a safe bailout area. And there is a layup area, but it's not necessarily much more. Well, I guess it is a bit more safe than going here. I would just vary fairway widths a little bit more for those sorts of areas. Let's go to, oh, that's in the bunker. Just leapt left. Oh, let's see these bunkers up close. It works. Okay. And that's pretty good. Take that. Just about scraped him. Yeah, I like that you've gone with lots of these big cameras to show the plot, because I think the plot and the detail work you've done across it and blend of textures, you've given us a really unique, different environment to what we have currently in the game. Like, it's right to highlight that. So yeah, here's a really good example, because like, you are pinching this side and you're pinching a little bit this side with the trees coming in. I don't really understand why you wouldn't give us fairway here for someone who wanted to lay back a little bit more. I feel like the decision was made to have a constant fairway width. The thing is that is a way of doing it. It just kind of pushes people into always hitting driver, because I get no real benefit for laying back. Like, there's no incentive to take a little bit off. Oof. Sculpting here is like, you will just get better at this. I like the green side, like the split between this portion and this portion, how they play together is really nice. Right? This is a tiered green that works pretty well. Right. We got there. Not too bad. Yeah, I would just echo again about the red slope at the back of the green. Given the length of approach, just be mindful of where you're doing this and when you're doing it. at least with this one, you've given us backstops. I just don't think you'd want to do that. Oh, there's a putt. Sure, we'll watch it again. Nice. So just the final thing I think on the two-tone fairways, where they work well, and particularly is like when you have a lot of straighter holes. Like, so if you're curving fairways an awful lot, that's why this doesn't feel like it fits quite so much. Whereas if you look at the courses where it does do it, say your Heathland courses, Parkland courses, often quite straight fairways. Yeah, hence Royal County Town doing it as well. Whereas we're doing a lot of zigzagging around. Like maybe Terra da Comporta does do it. I'm not totally sure. I do like the edging of all of the fairways leading into this is really well done. I will say I mentioned on the first that I felt that it looked a little regular. Actually, kind of looking at it here, I don't think it does so much. Okay. If I had laid back, I'd have had, yeah, 195 is a lot of club into that. I guess you can lay back. Cool. Yeah, I like this green. Again, though, the runoff into rough, I try as much as possible to avoid doing that. That is a terrible swing. Felt that one. Get lucky. Thank you. Now, I like that you've built in forgiveness on that side. Mm-hmm. That's going to miss high. Oh well. Oh, 2 under is better than we've been on some courses. Cameras so far best in contest by a distance, I would say. Like, and a really good example of how they can properly benefit a course. Yeah. Okay, we've seen 7 holes now, and I think my main critique from a big picture perspective is there's a lot of carry hazards where if you can't carry them, you are left with very challenging shots. It kind of does, it's doing some similar things off the tee in terms of how we defend those tee shots. And that said, with this one, I think you can play down the right and you'd probably run on down. It's more how it feels that it's doing that. Ooh, a bold bunker in front. So this one, I'd have been tempted just to lower this side, have this side peaking up, and then drop down a bit more. This planting, the weathering really helps as well. This looks great. I like the idea of hiding a corner as well. Okay, out of light rough. I don't feel comfortable with this either, but we'll go with it. Oh, that was the club. Catch the backstop now. Didn't really. No. That texture for the main sand looks great with how it has kind of like almost footprint marks and things in there. This looks really good. I think these runoffs feel a touch steep. So 7 feet. There to there, it probably need, like you can accomplish the same effect and have it be about 3 feet. And I think you'd find the whole hole looks that little bit better. It's just this bit. It's all a little severe. The environment again is really nice. 17 is, yeah, it should be about maybe a touch short. Yeah, and that means we do roll off into rough rather than necessarily fairway. But that's okay, it could just be the angle I rolled off at. Oh, that's an annoying bogey. Okay, central bunker. I think you're going to struggle to incentivize people to play up here. I like the idea of incentivize people to the high side. They get a better angle into the green. I just don't think, because we are then cutting off the fairway around about here, and it's going to kind of kick back this way anyway. I don't think the difference is big enough, and this side's always going to be easier. He says, just hitting something somewhere down the middle. We would also add that the landing zones and run-ins to the 2 par 5s on the front so far are kind of similar. Right, let's just pop something down there. And this might not even be enough. It goes. Really depends on that lie. Yeah. What a ridiculous spin. Thanks, game. That's a nice line. Okay, well, that makes up for 8. Hey, back 9. What have we got? I like the look of the green site, just overlooking that bay area. Cool. Sculpting here, a little on the harsh side, I would say. I like the tee shot. I think this one, I would just have a broad slope. You don't need this little funnel or shoot. Just broad slope. Doesn't need to be anything more than that, because you can't really see that slope anyway from back here. Ugh, terrible. Let's see how we play from here. That's punitive enough. I dare say you will see this slope into the rough without me pointing it out, but just in case. Kick left. I tried. Really tried. Still trying. Yay! Nice. Okay, so how would that have played to different pins? Yeah. Would have worked well. Lovely view from that green. That's probably my favourite view on the course so far. And there's been some good ones. Okay, so we're doing something different with the tee shot here, just tempting people to hit over those. And different with the green. Good. I don't think I can carry those, but we'll give it a go. No, definitely not like that. I can't. Oh, and I could. All right, 108 up, 8 down slope. Yeah, feels right. Yeah, I would just look at these banks. I think they're quite the ones when they are banked into these grassy banks. A couple of times I've looked a little steep. Lots of good though. So like for a running shot, I can see how that would funnel it into the green. You will spot the right hand side. Otherwise, this green works really nicely. And another good putt. Can't hit tee shots. Putts are fine. I like the green slopes. Okay. Do, do, do. Terrible. Still, we have a putt. Huh. And that one, oh well. I think I pushed it. Annoying. Oh no, that was me. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you need the bunker on the far side of the fairway. It's kind of narrow enough. We're hitting across it. For people to stay on, they want to be aiming about here and trusting it. You don't need the bunker. And again, I would just afford even more space this side. Have your fairway going a little wider. Especially as the greens, like, it's well protected. Not the it's not a totally short hole, so you can't really. Let's look. You did lay back. Look at what you're leaving yourself in. So I get that you're probably leaving there, but 208. Say if I hit a decent 3-wood. Let's test. That's okay. It's rolled a little bit more. Well, that's worked out. Okay. It may be just asking a little bit much. Although, yeah, probably okay. I don't know. I still think I would stand by removing that bunker generally. That is going in the bunkers. Didn't judge the lie at all enough. Come back, please. There we go. Yeah. Generally, I've really liked the approach shots. It's the tee shots that I still think we're finding our way. Just like perfectly gauging playability in terms of how much to put hazards in and how, like, when to allow space and when not to. Ah, we've done a tree. This looks nice. I like the greens benched more into the hills. You can see we've got a spine sort of bisecting. We're going to try and play to the right of it. Yeah, bash a 3-wood up there. Trying to remember my approaches into the par fives. I think it's partly wind hasn't helped, but also partly me popping it in bunkers now and again. I have a lot of 3-shot par fives just hitting a wedge in, which I think is very much on me. Slash conditions. That was working out all right. Nice view again. Well, we have a win for this one. Down 40. Hey, do something. Hey, where do we go now? Oh, that's a fun shot. Not quite. Somehow at -5. This is going quite well. So I presume some of these are just lower third cameras rather than pre-hole ones, but that's nice as well. Right. Pop ourselves up to here. And I like the green side, just sitting above. One thing I appreciate about this hole, I've been thinking it for a little while. This one feels like the environment is just slightly different. We've had some trees removed. I think you could maybe have done a little bit more between blending the different environments. So trees further away from the coast, then the open areas, and then your coastline holes. Ugh, what a terrible shot. Go on, try. It did better than it had any right to. Because I really like the environment. The thing is, over the 18 holes, it has, I wouldn't say worn off, but it loses its impact a little bit in the way that it had that on the first few, which is why the openness on some of the recent holes has been much appreciated. Okay, par 3. 195. Kind of similar, other than being on the coast, but visually it's kind of a similar hole design to the previous par 3, which was pretty much horizontal fairway coming in from this side, like all carry. So I might have switched it up and done something a little different. Obviously that one ran away from the player. This one isn't doing that quite so much. Oh, so good for a different pin. Yeah, this bit, don't do, like that's just, don't do this. Because again, you're running people into the rough. It's not going to run into the bunker. It's a 200-yard shot anyway. We don't really want to run people off the back of the green from that. Turn. Not going to turn. Again, like environment, really, really cool. And partly a function of lighting, but I appreciate the space that you've left here. Just about held its line. Oh, cool camera. Camera's been really good. Right, 17. Or are we on 18? Oh, we're on 18. Of course, par 3 was the 17th. These are the TGC rules. Ugh. Stay out. Disappointing. Well, it's not reachable now. Probably not. Okay, so where's our layout? Well, we've kind of got to throttle way down, haven't we? That will do. The bridge is interesting. It's a very long extension of the roof. I like the idea of it. It's just it feels like it goes on a very long way. I think it's because those bridges themselves are so long. It's my guess. All right, come on. Hold apart. Oh, hey, that was part 4. That's a long part 4. Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. Right, I had a couple of thoughts on this. Let's just look at the scorecard because I want to see yardages a little bit. Lovely panning shot at the end as well. Right, come on. Cycle through menus. I don't care about my progression. I don't care about rewards. Scorecard. Distance-wise, I feel like there were a lot of 500-odd yard par 4s. And particularly with the elevation coming in. So 18 plays as such. 7, 5, 10, 13. There's a lot. And I think what you've... Yeah, it's kind of the area between 450 and then the 350, 370 ones. But bear in mind, some of those 15 and 2 were both very downhill, so they kind of became like drivable holes. You could really benefit from some short par 4s that aren't drivable, I would say, just to break up that feeling of long approach, long approach, long approach. That'll also allow you to play around more with green sites, with what you're doing with the bunkering, how you're working with mounding, things like that. It just will take more pressure off just by the whole lengths being slightly different. Additionally, like, I really like the environment. I think you can still go a bit more interesting with some of the green sites. They were, I wouldn't say necessarily all safe, but there was nothing that was there weren't that many that were taking you loads of chances, and you necessarily will remember for like how bold that green site was. I really like 18. I really like 15, because those felt a bit more kind of like islands. And then things like the first, I thought was a really nice, subtle green site. But I think for those to really stand out, you'd probably want some more high octane ones within those as well. Additionally, then it's just minor things like you've got the planting. I think your job is just keep finding out how to nail that tee shot difficulty and balancing hazards, like between taking away driver, and it's that really tough balance in a video game of like compartmentalizing a fairway so that it's challenging enough, but then also allowing everyone to play the hole, even if they don't have a certain length of driver. And I appreciate I can play that from 7 to 50, and I will try that again another time. But I presume the main distance you wanted it from was the backs. Anything else I would add? Par 3 distances leapt out. No, they were nicely spaced. Yeah, I think just adding variety. I thought the standout feature is your environment, which is really, really good. I think yeah, and I alluded to this on 16, 17. How can you keep that environment consistent and then vary it ever so slightly? So thinning out the trees in spots, thickening up in other spots, so that we feel like we're visiting slightly different parts. But yeah, it's a really good course. Like, I'm trying to give you everything I can do as ever, but enjoyed it. I thought the greens were much better than the last course I remember